In this video, we're going to talk about what theatre producing taught me about my voiceover business. As some of you may already know, as well as being a voiceover artist, I am also an actor and I am also a theatre producer for a theatre company based in London in the UK called Arrows and Traps Theatre, arrowsandtraps.com. Check them out, we're award-winning. And I thought that it would be quite interesting, having recently completed quite a major project for them in 2021, to just kind of briefly touch on some of the things that doing theatre producing has taught me about voiceover, because although in many ways they are very, very different, they are still operating very much in the creative realm, and they also involve quite a bit of business as well, which I thought would be relatively relevant. So yes, here are a few takeaways from the experiences that I've had. I think a crucial one is all to do with communication. So when I'm producing, I'm having to liaise with the artistic director, I'm having to liaise with stage manager, I'm having to liaise with actors about their contracts, all of that kind of thing. And similarly, when you're a voiceover artist, you may be dealing with a client and also an end client. You may be dealing with people who are also working for you on various different aspects of your business as well. And all through that time, you need to be as clear and concise and transparent in your communication as possible. So therefore, the right balance between formal but not too formal, so that you can be understanding when you need to be and flexible when you need to be as well. But regardless, that you're very clear in all of your correspondence. In voiceover, as well as with producing, time is money. So you need to be very concise about every point that you're saying, not have lots of fluff, like in this video, for example, of me rambling. You need to really kind of cut to the point about things, which I think is very invaluable. The second thing that is important in both counts is having an awareness of money and a budget. Obviously, with theatre producing very specifically, I'm responsible for putting together an entire budget and then either pitching that to investors or alternatively, in the UK, we have the Arts Council of England, where we can submit a proposal for potential government subsidy. But you need to cost absolutely everything out and make your working incredibly transparent and rational. So you need to do your research as a result. Similarly, with voiceover work, I would say when you're working with budgets, you need to really know your stuff. I think with voiceover artists, as soon as people ask us what our rates are, we tend to panic. And initially, that's quite excusable if you don't really know, because they're so complex and there are so many different factors to take into account. But by the same token, you need to know your stuff. If you don't know why audiobooks are priced in a completely different way to e-learning as opposed to a commercial project as opposed to video games, then it's your responsibility to find out why, or the difference between a fully funded video game, a AAA title for example, as opposed to something indie game arrangement instead. There is pre-existing material out there that you need to know about and use as a reference. And then when you do compile a quote or make an estimate or anything else like that, you should really show your working. You need to be completely rational about all of these things, rather than just pulling a figure out of the air. You need to be going, I'm charging this amount of usage because of this, and then link your resources, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make you come across as more professional. A third thing that is equally important for both theatre producing and also for voiceover is marketing. If you create a show, an experience for people, and no one knows that it's actually occurring, then it's kind of a wasted endeavour to a certain degree. And similarly with the voiceover, I mean, I don't need to overstate this too much, but if people don't know that you exist, that you're a viable option for them, something that they can go to and visit and utilise, then it's kind of pointless. So the basics of marketing being reaching out to people, letting them know what you offer and how they can have a great experience by engaging with what you offer, That's the key of being a service provider. Just as with a theatre show, you're kind of pitching the kind of experience that people are going to have. You're solving their problems in terms of what should they be doing during this evening or whatever. I mean, essentially with a voiceover, it's exactly the same thing. It's about the ease of use, but also the quality of the end product as well. The fourth thing that I think both producing and voiceover share is the importance of outsourcing when you can. So with theatre producing, I know there are certain things that we can keep within the company because we're already good at what we do. And then there are other certain things where we need a special skill set. So, as an example, in terms of trailer production for our last show, because we weren't allowed to do live shows, so it had to be an online streaming event instead, we had to reduce our budget as a result. And one of the ways that we managed to reduce that budget was that we took the trailer production, which we would normally outsource, and brought it in internally because we had people with that skill set to still make a good trailer for the show, as opposed to hiring a PR company, for example. In other words, outsourcing that skill set so that more people would be aware of the show that we were making in terms of broadsheet reviews and wider kind of coverage than we would normally have. So knowing when to outsource and when not to. Then similarly, if we apply that to the voiceover thing, the first thing that I outsourced ever for my voiceover gig was accounting, essentially, because that takes up so much time and there's so much stress. And so for a relatively decent fee, I was able to not exactly give that wholesale to someone else, but give the responsibility of that to someone, generally speaking. But then there's also lead generation. Some people manage their social media almost exclusively through outsourcing as well. Be aware of those sections in your voiceover business that you could actually give to other people to kind of like deal with, because you don't need to be personalized and hands-on so much, so that you've got the time to do the recording or the stuff that you are really good at. Obviously, there are loads of other ways in which producing and voiceover can cross over as well, but hopefully that's given you a slightly different way of thinking about it, whether or not you are a theatre producer or a voiceover, or both. Anyway, I hope this has been of some use to you. Thanks so much for checking it out. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.